I think people are so focused on all the extra shit that comes with business, not what is your business. Your business should be your priority. You should be getting the absolute best out of that. You should be putting all your efforts into it. You have to lock in. Like I would never have gotten there and be able to do what I do today if I didn't lock in. I walk into a room and people tell me about how much money they earn.
Yeah.
I don't ever talk about how much money I earn. I talk about how many people I help. The most selfish thing you can do is help somebody else.
Well, it's always good and high energy when us two get into the room. John Bell from Kauri Wealth. Good to see you as always, mate.
Always, mate. Looking forward to another session.
Let's talk about where you're at in terms of the number of clients that you have, and we can work backwards from there for those who don't know what you do.
Cool, sweet. So today, pretty proud to say, manage 4,750, so 4,750 clients.
Wow.
Which is pretty awesome. I mean, spoke with you a few years back, and I was hoping to get to that, trying to tick over that too. Like all business, it's kind of that snowball effect happens, and when it happens fast.
Wow, so 4,750 people around New Zealand, and you are their advisor effectively for the KiwiSaver. That's basically the sole thing that you focus on.
That's the only thing I focus on. And the biggest thing I'd say is, if you go through my phone, it's 4,750 phone calls that I'll make this year to every single one of them as well. That's probably the biggest commitment out of everybody. Like out of all of it, people hear 4,750, that's an awesome number. But that's 4,750 calls I need to make before I can go and get any new business as well.
Well, let's dial back to day one when you had zero clients. When was that, for those who don't know, for some context?
Sweet. So that's coming up 4 years ago now. So so just under 4 years, and I was working for Fonterra at the time, which was super cool. But passion project on the side got developed over a 3-month period. We laughed about it last time. We got developed over a Love Island season while other people were watching Love Island. I was building Kauri Wealth, and it took 4 years to get to where it is now. And it's been, honestly, probably the biggest sacrifices I've ever made in my life, but I wouldn't change anything. I love it.
Nice. We'll come back to some of those sacrifices, but what led you to be so passionate about getting into this space that you did sacrifice Love Island to help people with their KiwiSaver?
Community, I guess. It's really always been about where I'm born and raised. Kauri Wealth is the name on the shirt because all I want to do is put more wealth into Northland. I associate the Kauri tree with Northland. So it's always been about community. Growing up in the area that I grew up in, Kaitai, amazing place, but there is definitely a lack of education when it comes to some of the most basic things in our financial education system, like KiwiSaver. And I thought it was just a Northland problem when I started out. And so I set it up there to help out and help people out. But honestly, my database and my client base now suggests it's not a Northland problem, it's a New Zealand issue.
And what is that problem that you're seeing, do you think?
Education. There's always going to be education in New Zealand until we get it right. So everybody's specifically on KiwiSaver, everybody signs up to KiwiSaver, everybody has it. Nobody takes the time to make sure they're getting the best out of it. And until we change the education piece, it's not going to change. And I always look at it, people go why is KiwiSaver such a big topic now?
Yes.
When you started 4 years, when I started 4 years ago, somebody that only gives KiwiSaver advice, I never met anybody else like me. Now every 2 weeks I get somebody calling me. So for me, people go, has KiwiSaver gotten so much better? No, KiwiSaver has always been a fantastic product. It is a really, really good product. We just don't have the awareness around it in New Zealand. And I think the only thing that's changing is awareness, especially things going on right now. I don't know when this airs, but US, Iran, the news media start talking about it again. KiwiSaver conversations become more prevalent. We've had tariffs in the last few years. We've had COVID since I've started. All of this kind of thing volatility makes people think about KiwiSaver. So the awareness is slowly coming. There's also other people running podcasts talking to 1 million people every week, which are raising the awareness as well.
Yeah, I like to think so, mate. But I was actually going to ask you about this towards the back end of this pod, but we'll go there now, where I'm seeing the same thing. You can't go anywhere without hearing people talk about KiwiSaver. It's in the news more. It's on LinkedIn. It's on social media. I reckon, the old Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, the bitch of a snowball, that first 100 grand, once you get to that, and that's age-old teaching of that psychological, once you see that compounding, as an example, I've been comparing it to recently is if you had 100 grand in the S&P 500 in 2025, you're probably walking away with around 117K, right? That's what it'd be worth at the end of that year, roughly. Now, could you even save $17,000 after a year's work when you're making minimum wage? Probably not. At $35 an hour, the median income, like maybe if you're doing next to not much. So you've worked for a year and then maybe you can save 15, but that person with the 100 grand invested in the S&P, that's obviously a great year, 17%, but it's outrun the worker. And that's, I think, what Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett were encouraging people to do. But now we've got KiwiSaver past that $100 billion amount. And I think because it's gone past that, the whole psychology of it is that it's a lot bigger now. It's a serious snowball. I remember recently reading it was at 130. Now it's at 145 billion. The number just seems to be compounding.
Crazy. Yeah. And I think the other thing I actually saw you post about it, and I was reading it, and I was reading some of the comments, and I don't think some people understand. It's not that the number is 100 billion. What it means is that everybody that has a KiwiSaver, their own individual balance is higher. And so the way I would put it is like, let's say a really good KiwiSaver provider averages 10% returns after fees every year for 10 years, which is what the best are doing, right? When everybody started KiwiSaver was in their infancy and they had $10,000 in there, they had a 10% year, they made $1,000. And so there wasn't all this hype around, oh, do I need to be with this KiwiSaver provider or that KiwiSaver provider? Because if you had a 10% year or an 8% year, it was the difference between $200.
Yeah.
But now that people have $40,000 in their KiwiSaver, it's the difference between $3,600 or it's the difference between $4,000. It's the difference between $5,000. The difference now is that because everybody's balance is bigger, who you're with, what you're doing with it, how you're investing it, the margins that you used to have were hundreds of dollars and now thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And that's why I think people are talking about KiwiSaver now, because getting it right is the difference between thousands of dollars year on year on year on year, which becomes tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So you've helped nearly 5,000. By the time this goes to be probably 6,000, the run rate year on.
You're releasing in 2 years' time, mate.
No way, mate. 3 days, yeah. So what are you helping them with that they can't see or don't know, that someone listening to this could go, oh, sheesh, I didn't understand that side of KiwiSaver as well? Because what I still see is that people think KiwiSaver is the same thing. Yeah, I do KiwiSaver. Yeah, I'm in that, but that's their level of their understanding.
Yeah, and that's why I say it's the KiwiSaver itself is a fantastic product and always has been. It's just the awareness, right, around what is it. So what am I helping people with? Everything. I speak to a lot of businesses, sports teams, everything. Every time I stand up there, I say this one thing. I have dedicated my whole life for the last 5 years towards KiwiSaver. I genuinely don't think you'll meet another person that knows the ins and outs of it any more than me. So if you ask a question today that I can't answer, I'll give you $100.
Yeah.
So, and that's a truthful story. Like, people listening to this will be able to vouch if they've heard me speak at a business. Why do I say that? Because I help people with everything from learning what KiwiSaver is, how it is. Some people think it's just a bank account, And so some conversations are about, hey, this is an investment. It's about aligning it with your timeframes, all of this kind of stuff. The other conversations are between different providers. Then there's conversations about how you get it out for first home. Are you self-employed? Are you a sole trader? Are you contract worker? There's so many niche. I'm moving to Aussie. I'm moving to London. There's so many niche conversations you can have within KiwiSaver. And I believe the thing that I do, I'm not going to say better than anybody else, but I know I'm fantastic at what I do, is that I've taken the time to learn everything there is about KiwiSaver, so that if somebody has an honest question, they just get on the phone to their friendly local KiwiSaver guy, John, and boom, they got the answer straight away.
Yeah.
And so, a really good example is right now with US and Iran. I've spent my emails going out. My clients will be going, what the hell is John doing at 3 a.m.? I've spent the last 4 nights individually copying, and you'll go, John, you've got better ways to do this, mate. But I've been copying and pasting my whole database worth of emails, and I just send them an email summing up what's going on. And I'm saying, you don't need to panic because we've already had the conversation. We've tailored it to you. The only people I need to hear from is if since we last spoke a year ago for your yearly review or however long it was, your situation and your timeframes changed, let's quickly have a conversation and make sure this isn't going to affect you in that new timeframe. Yeah. So for me, I help people with everything. It's so hard to pinpoint it down. But the most honest things would be just saying, aligning KiwiSaver to your timeframe. You can talk to all the salespeople in the world about KiwiSaver and they'll tell you, bang, 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 whatever. The most important thing you need to understand is your timeframe and how your risk aligns with that. Once you get that right, you can have the cherry on top conversation about being with the right people and put in the right place. And then, as we all know, life moves on, timeframes change. That's why I check in every single year. I'm going to make those 4,750 calls because I'm going to help pull that risk out when we need to, or add it in when we need to as well.
Big goals start with planning, and that's why we run 90-day business planning sessions one-on-one with aspirational business owners. Together, we help you set clear targets and start taking action straight away, and action on the things that matter, like pricing, margin, cash flow, ideal customers, and making sure that you're moving the needle to get closer to where you want to be. We've got tons of strong Google reviews in this space, so go and check those out. This could be perfect for you if you're after no fluff business planning and are keen on accountability. If you want to apply to book your 90-day plan, go to nextadvisory.nz and let's see if this is a good fit for you. Let's talk about the align piece. So what does that mean for someone who's never had advice around their KiwiSaver and perhaps thought that because they signed up for KiwiSaver that they have done what it is that they needed to do?
Cool. And that is the majority of the people I'm talking with. Look, honestly, the cool part is that conversation is slowly changing. 90% of my conversations were this when I started my business. Now it's probably 60%. Everybody thinks because I'm in KiwiSaver, I'm getting the best out of KiwiSaver. My whole conversation is it's not just about being in it, it's about being able to get the best out of it. And so when you sign up to KiwiSaver, you get instantly put into something called a default fund. And a default fund is designed for somebody with like a 5-year time frame. And let's face it, if you're signing up to KiwiSaver, you usually, you're either coming from a different career or you are young and you're entering the workforce for the first time. And I've listened to enough of your podcasts to know buying a home and at 22 is probably not realistic in this country. So a 5-year time frame for a 17-year-old joining KiwiSaver isn't realistic either. And that's what the biggest thing is saying. If you have a KiwiSaver, let's find out what level of risk you have, whether it's conservative, moderate, balanced, growth, aggressive, depending on the time you have until you want to buy a home or until you can retire. We match that. So we move it out of that default range and tailor it to you as an individual. And then within that level of risk you've chosen, we can go out and find who the best provider is for you to look after that money.
Now, I suppose then to keep it simple for people, because they think, let's say that they're listening and they think KiwiSaver is the same thing, but underneath that you've got fund providers, of which there are multiple, and then underneath the fund providers, they've got different funds, which then have a different level of risk. And so then what you're saying is, okay, you've got to make sure that you're matching your risk with the right type of fund, and that should be pointed towards your longer term goal for that KiwiSaver. Like you just said, it could be first home or it could be your retirement in the future, and hopefully not needing it for an emergency. But really, those are the only 3 use cases for KiwiSaver, right?
Yeah, you've got 2 things that we never want to plan for: illness and financial hardship, which come into play sometimes, but otherwise we're not planning for those. The only 2 things we're planning for is you buying a home and retiring at some past point after 65, you can touch it.
Yeah.
When I talk to my clients, those are the key words I use. When are you planning on touching it? Keyword's planning, because life, my experience tells it, life gets in the way. My old man didn't make 65, right? You don't plan for that. That's why you need somebody like me, so that when life does get in the way, you call and you say, John, that plan we had, it's not relevant anymore. We need a change on tack. And that's what we do, right? Yeah. And that's what I do. But it's literally like if you're a parent and you're going to buy, your child comes to you and say, I want a pair of Jordans for Christmas. Okay, if you're treating that like KiwiSaver, you go and buy a default pair of Jordans. There's a million different types of Jordans you can have. Jordans 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6s. There's a million different types of sizes. A default is saying, I'm just going to buy a pair of Jordans. Might be a size 6, my kid's a size 8.
They don't even fit.
It's not even fit for them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And so exactly what you're saying. KiwiSaver is like any other thing you can buy in your life. There's a whole bunch of different available products out there. You don't want to just walk into the store and grab the first pair of Jordans. You want to do the basic math of, what is my shoe size? So what is my time frame until I buy a home? Okay, and I really like Jordans, but what is my favorite Jordan? It's this one. Well, I really like KiwiSaver, but this is the best KiwiSaver provider, this one. It's just like any other product. We could do that for yogurt brands. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We just don't care about KiwiSaver in New Zealand. That's crazy.
So I think there's about 145 billion in there at the moment across everyone's accounts, all sorts of different funds. I think from memory, roughly $1 and $2 of that is sitting in providers led by the banks, right? And we know that Kiwi people don't like the amount of money that the banks make. But anyway, that then bewilders me how so many people have their money with the banks. But if I think about my mum, for instance, she probably thinks the most trusting brand in the country would be a blue bank that she's grown up alongside, and she can log in and she can see it. So I don't think there would be any convincing her of some form of different KiwiSaver. But is there a reason that those banks are so good at retaining those customers when they may not even be their best providers? I'm not saying that they're not, but I'm saying that
Front of
there's
mind.
so many more options now. Front of mind.
Just front of mind.
Gotcha.
Like, it literally is. It's you open your app, your KiwiSaver's on your app. The amount of conversations I've had with somebody to say, hey, this isn't the right one for you. And they go, oh, I like seeing it on my app. Fair enough. That's cool. But what is the best thing for you? And it's so easy to download another app. Like, I say it to people all the time. Have you ever downloaded the McDonald's app before? Yeah, I have. Sweet. To save 15 cents on a cheeseburger, let's download another KiwiSaver app that could help you save hundreds of thousands extra at retirement. It's that simple.
Yeah.
It's front of mind. And awareness again. A lot of people that you talk to on the daily aren't investing.
Yeah.
So how do you know about investment firms other than banks? How do you know about other options if they're not out there in front of your face? And so I'm not a big advertising guy. Like, I do no advertising with my business. But advertisement does have a place in the KiwiSaver world because people do need to know there's other options just to build that level of trust up. I mean, all KiwiSaver providers are equally safe as each other because your money's protected by a trust. It's not going to disappear and leave tomorrow, but you do need to have some level of brand awareness in order to just feel a little bit good in your heart to go, yeah, I trust that. I'll move it over there.
Is the bulk of the 4,750 people, clients, customers, however you want to term them, is it that they have been they've underinvested in risks? They should be underexposed to risk, so they should be exposed to more risk and they just didn't know that they could be?
The majority would have been. Yeah. Absolutely.
Before they come to you.
Before they come to me. Because why? Because our timeframes in New Zealand are usually really big. If you've bought a home before, massive time frame. You can't touch it till 65 again. So any client that comes to me that has bought their first home before, they're probably sitting in that default area, 5-year time frame. So they're now under risk. We can put them over here. And yep, they're going to have the ups and downs, but they're going to earn a hell of a lot more long term, right? And then, like I said, the young people that are just starting out, probably more than 5 years away from buying a home. So on average, it's definitely more helping people increase their risk and explaining why we're doing it.
Yeah.
I think it's the biggest thing. If I wasn't personal, if you talk to Kauri Wealth, you only talk to John. Like, that's it. So I'm willing to have that conversation because, like I said, I back my knowledge to explain the whole thing to somebody, because it can be, I get it confronting for somebody that goes, oh, I don't like the idea of it having bigger ups and downs. I'm so blunt with my clients. I tell them, like, hey, the first thing you could see is your KiwiSaver go backwards if we're working together, because we're giving you more exposure, but we're caring about your time frame. And over that time frame, you're going to be in a better position.
Do you know what I was thinking about the other day when all of the US and the Iran stuff kicked off, right? Because people were actually asking me, oh, what do you think's going to happen? And I'm sure for you as well. I thought, I wonder what people are asking in Australia, because basically in New Zealand, we were seeing messaging of, oh, don't cheat your KiwiSaver and come Monday, like the right messaging of, okay, the markets could be down, your KiwiSaver could be looking bleak, don't log in, think longer term. But in Australia, because it's compulsory to be in superannuation for most people, basically they are forced to buy the following week. Whereas Kiwi people are going, oh, I wonder if I should opt out. Oh, I heard that this Iran thing was going to happen, so therefore I did move my money to conserve. And I feel like they think they can time the money a bit more. But the beauty of something that's compulsory is it doesn't matter. It's going to ride the volatility for you because it's set and forget to do that. Whereas I think because we're sort of half in, half out, we've got KiwiSaver set up well, but then still give people an ability to opt out and do these different things, then it won't compound like the market compounds, because we'll try and time the market and get that wrong.
The people that, like, I'm so blunt with my clients, and like sometimes, I don't know whether sometimes I leave a conversation with someone and I'm like, man, I hope that came across right. But I genuinely tell people this, like, if you are trying to time the market, you're somewhat very arrogant, because you think you're going to do a better job at managing your own money than these people that get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars a year to wake up when the US market opens, to go to sleep when the US market shuts. You know, like, that's their life. That's their bread and butter. And so Joe Blog that's not checking their KiwiSaver all the time and doing all that, or reading why they're making these investment decisions, I just don't think they're going to be able to do, on average, a better job than the person that this is their profession. Like, I put it this way, like, a random bump pops up on my arm, I'm not going to self-diagnose. I'm definitely not going to go to Google, like
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the professional. I'm going to get them to do the job for me. And it's the same way I look at KiwiSaver is if you know your timeframes, you just have to trust your timeframes and let the best people look after it for you.
So I think we've got about 3 million people roughly that have a KiwiSaver account in some way, shape or form, but about 1 million of them aren't contributing. So really there's only 2 million active contributors. I think the average balance might be around $45,000. But that average balance, I think people have to remember too, that it's not a good thing to compare yourself to because it's an average across all of those
Everybody.
accounts. Yeah. But if you dig into some of the different funds, they'll show you, what their average or median balance is. Yeah. And they're often, a lot higher than the overall average balance because there might be people with a lot of money in there, but in risk off.
Yeah.
And then they might not be compounding. And so you've got to be careful what it is that you're comparing yourself to. I mean, even that, you ain't going to retire on 45K.
No,
Like,
shit, no.
Let's be real, you
No.
know. So I think that's where it's so important with what you guys are doing to actually, as advisors and yourself, have been able to get that many people and get education to them to understand this stuff because it takes the pressure off of the state and other taxpayers if the market is doing the heavy lifting for them over that long time period.
One of the honest reasons why I started my business was because I can see where New Zealand's going, right? So people always ask me, the retirement age in New Zealand's going to change. 100% it's going to change. Oh, my KiwiSaver will move with it. I don't expect KiwiSaver to move with it because they're still going to want people to be able to retire at 65 if they can, but they're not going to earn the government super until they get to 70. Honestly, for my age, I don't think I'm going to even have super when I get there, right? 25 cents for every dollar we pay in tax goes straight to paying super. We can't afford to do it. We'll never have any infrastructure in this country, right? So I think that'll just keep going and phase it out. But everybody my age, if they do their KiwiSaver right, will be well and truly above $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 in their KiwiSaver by the time they get there. And if that's managed right, it's not about getting to 65 and pulling 500 grand out of your KiwiSaver. It's about saying, okay, how much do you need in this first year, 2 years, 3 years? Cool, 50 grand, 60 grand, 100 grand. Let's take a bit of risk out of our 100 grand that we need. Let's keep other parts of our KiwiSaver growing so we can live on it for longer. KiwiSaver is going to be what my generation lives on. And I can see that. And so that's what I was looking around in Kaitaia and going, man, the amount of people I know that are relying and all they have at retirement is the government super right now. And it's not enough for them, to do the things I want them to be able to do with their kids and grandkids and everything like that. So my idea for them is that hopefully getting them a little bit extra in the KiwiSaver is going to give them the ability to do the stuff I want them to be able to do, right? New Zealanders, I believe, work hard. I've got mates that live in London and everywhere, and they all say they love New Zealanders. Because, you go to London, they don't start work till 9:30 in the morning. Us New Zealanders are strolling in going, this is unreal,
Yeah.
And we're hitting the ground running at 9 o'clock for a 9:30 start. We're not then having our coffee breaks and doing all that. That same people aren't working till 10:30. So we're a hard-working nation. I genuinely believe that. It's why our sports teams dominate, and the problem is our money's not working hard for us in the background, and for the amount of hard work we do in this country, I don't think enough people are getting the just desserts at the end of the day. And I want to be a reason to say, if you work your ass off in your lifetime and you do things right and you get the right advice, you are going to be able to have the retirement you actually deserve.
You're a good man, mate. And speaking of working hard, to get to 4,750 clients in 4 years, you must have some lessons in there for business owners of how you've been able to design processes or stick to the same things and do them repetitively without, getting bored of it, for instance, as well, or looking at shiny objects. So any key lessons that you can reflect on now over those 4 years of what you've been able to build and think, okay, maybe advice to your earlier self, for instance, or someone who's earlier in their journey or just needs to just push and just do the same thing every day for days and days and really lock in, as the young people these days say.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely one. You have to lock in. I would never have gotten there and be able to do what I do today if I didn't lock in. That's unbelievable sacrifice to get there. But there were so many lessons that I have now that I'd be like, oh God, you were locked in, but you were locked in on all the wrong shit.
Okay.
And so I think the biggest thing I learn as my business gets bigger is that you want to keep your business as simple as possible. I think when you start a business, you're so excited. You want to do this, you want to do that. You've got all these big brand new ideas, and you get a finger in this pot, a finger in that pot, a finger in that pot, and you never actually just hone in on what you're doing and what makes your business so successful. I know what makes my business successful now, and that's all I do. I've cut all the other shit out of my life my work life, that wasn't allowing me to just focus in on what is Kauri Wealth. Whatever your business is, I reckon mandatory. You sit in a dark room one day and you go, what is my business? What do I do? How do I help people? What is the fastest way to help that person? Once you answer that question, boom. Now you got direction and you just run away with it. At the start, I was trying to be, honestly, I ran my business like a charity. Like I just genuinely was trying to help out every single person that came my way. I speak to people for an hour and a half, and I knew they'd never be a client. I was just doing it because I genuinely want that person to be in a better position. I'll still take that phone call today and I'll help all those people out, but I'm not going to do an hour and a half of going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I'm going to give you my advice. If you don't believe in, if it's too new for you, you want to stay where you are, you want to do all that, cool, that's awesome. I've done what I wanted, which was to give another person in this country advice. Whether you work with me or not, my goal is to give you advice at some stage in your lifetime. And I think people are so focused on all the extra shit that comes with business and not what is your business.
Yeah, mate, it's so common, and I think it's especially for business owners and entrepreneurial people. There are different things we can do, and I've had probably 4 emails today where people want to catch up with me for a coffee or talk about how we could do deals together, and I'm having to become more comfortable just not even replying. That feels so foreign and bad for me, but I'm like, how much time am I actually going to explore these people's ideas that they think they have that we can work on together? Like, I should probably just focus on the things that I'm trying to do in my own action plan.
100%. Like, I'm the biggest sports fan in the world, and I stayed up last night because I'm like, I can't wait to watch the league, And so I get to 10 o'clock.
Storm versus Eels?
Yeah. Hiding. But I get there, I don't even remember the game because I had my laptop in front of me the whole time. Because I was like, I'll just keep working through to the game, right?
Yeah.
And then I get to there and I'm like, I'll just answer a few other questions. I'll just do this. I'll do that. And it gets to the point that I'm like, I'm only listening to what's going on. I'm not actually watching it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little bit different right now because I really want to be prevalent on any comms going out with
You're in a shaky time.
The shaky timers. But that's one thing I'm really trying to cut out of my life is I want to be present because I worked so hard over the last 4 years. I actually ended up in hospital at one point. I just literally ran myself to zero, wasn't sleeping enough, wasn't doing that. And it just taught me, I think there's highs and there's lows and there's lessons, right? You get a high, what's the high out of the lesson? How do you do that again? You have a low, how do you not do that again? So I got a little notebook, I write all my lessons down. And the big one for me is I need to focus on how my business is going to be successful. But in order for my business to be successful, this person here needs to be the best version of himself first. Because I'm the person you're talking to for KiwiSaver advice. If I look terrible and I can't stand on my feet, you're not going to, you don't want to work with me. So I've got to be in the best mental shape, best physical shape, and everything to feel good about myself, to walk into any room and be confident and have the conversations I need to have. That's something I wasn't doing when I first started my business. I was just so focused on others and not on myself.
I guess there'll be people listening that are going, well, how is it sustainable or scalable from here that you can go from 0 to 4,750 in 4 years? What's the ceiling, because you're doing this without a lot of external or other support, right? You're at the heart of this.
Well, to be fair, if you'd asked me a year ago, I'd have no good answers for you. But we did the 90-day and that changed things for me because we were catching up and you were like, mate, is this sustainable? And I'm like, mate, I can do this. I love what I do and I can do this. I love it. And you're like, I know you can, but for how long? What is the steps? At some point, you're not going to be able to do it for 10,000. So why don't you introduce now things that you're going to have to do anyway when you get to 10,000? And because I'm tight and I run a lean business, I'm like, I don't need to pay people to do other,
Yeah.
But you're like, you're going to have to do this eventually. Why don't you do it now? If you're telling me you need to focus on being the best version of you, you hand off all these things, you're going to be having all the... One thing you really said to me in that 90-day that I'll never forget was, mate, you love what you do. I can see it. You're so passionate, but you're doing all this other stuff that you're not passionate about. You just have to do it in order to have these conversations. get people to look after that for you so you can just be that person. And so, yeah, I've got a really good admin team around me now that help me do all my admin in the background. So it allows me to be the only person calling and the only person meeting people.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have got there without having those conversations. And that's probably another good lesson. I think in business, we're probably too scared to spend money. If you're like me anyway, or you're raised how I'm raised,
True.
you have to spend a little bit of money to, like a 90-day course. When I was like, oh, check it in the price, I was like, the price is all right, but it's 90 days. Like, still, the way I would, if anybody's thinking about something like a 90-day course with you, I'd be saying, you pay for 90 days technically, but those lessons I got in 90 days, I'm going to use for the next 40 years of business. And when you dollar cost that out, it's like, man, that's a really good spend. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's an investment, right? And I think that's for all of us, like myself included, when we go to spend money on ourselves, we forget that, okay, we're letting go of the money now, but we're actually, investing into our future.
The coolest part is like so when I brought my admin team in to help me do some other stuff in the background, I've highlight every piece of business that comes from them helping me out. So I can like actually somewhat quantify
Nice.
what that spend has done for me.
Yeah.
I just like, why'd you not do it earlier?
You've
Because you're
unlocked
just
new
trying to
levels.
do it yourself, and it's
Yeah.
just,
I
there
think
is,
it's the Kiwi way a little bit
Yeah.
too, right? Like do it yourself. You should be able to do it yourself, but eventually that breaks.
and I was going to say, I'm glad, two ways. If you want to be the best business, probably don't do it from yourself from day one. But if you really want to have an appreciation, like people that ever work for me, I will always treat them with respect and like I will want them to be successful. Like if I ever get advisors under me, if they leave me in 10 years to go and run their own business, I'll go awesome, because the way I look at it is I know how hard that grind is when it was just me. So if somebody's there helping me and helping my business be successful, mate, you're taking a load off my shoulders. You're allowing me to go and do the things I want to do with friends and family and all that. Like that, I'll have so much appreciation for that. And that comes from my family business where we grew vegetables. Like, dad and my uncles and my mum and stuff, they're managing teams of 60, and they had a very successful business. But the one thing I always learned is this business is nothing without the people that are actually out there on the floor with them, making all those making all those making everything that they built actually happen. And those are people that aren't earning the most money in the world or anything like that. And as long as you show them respect and you look after them and you care about them as individuals and people, mate, they're going to help build your thing up. And that's the biggest thing I'm learning right now is you surround yourself by the right people, like yourself, surround yourself by the right people, mate, everything comes up. You join their level,
Yeah, no, I agree with that so much, mate. And I think I often say people have everything we need, and it's people look at that saying a little bit negatively. Oh, you're trying to get things from people. No, if you can help them get what they need, then you'll probably get what you need as well. And if we can all be looking at different ways to help other people, then like you say, yeah, it does rise up.
I'm a weirdo. Like I have a board at home, right? And I write quotes on it every now and again. And it's not like it's just like what some of them's like, make the calls.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's my biggest one in bold lights is make the calls. Because that's, if you have to understand with 4,750 clients, if you have a day where you wake up and you're like, I'm a little bit dusty from the week and I don't want to make my calls today, well, that's 50 calls you got to pick up the next day. And it's 100, then it's 200. By the end of the week, 200 calls you got to make on a Friday, And so one of them I have there to your point is my mum read it the other day and she was like, what does that mean? And it says, the most selfish thing you can do is help somebody else. She's like, what does that actually mean? I'm like, it's literally how I run my business. Like, I literally never thought this would be a business. I just set it up to help out other people. And I've got 4,750 clients and I love what I do. But for me, it is so selfish.
Yeah.
Because I'm helping others. And it's just like, but I get so much joy out of what I do. Like, I love Kauri Wealth and I love my business, but I'm helping others. And it's such a true quote. I think it's Denzel Washington. The most selfish thing you can do is help others. And mate, for me, I'll stand by that forever.
Yeah. Well, and I guess the reverse of that, where people would probably often think about being selfish, would be actually they're trying to just help themselves, but not think about how they can do that via helping other people. Yeah.
And I think that's like, people always go, well, you're just a salesman. I'm like, there's definitely, I think the part of my business that is the sales part is me. I have to sell myself to you. Like, and you have to trust John. Like, that's the thing that probably the lowest point of my business. The thing I don't like the most is the weight of responsibility. Like, I
Yeah.
hate it. Like, I talk with somebody that KiwiSaver is their life savings, and they're trusting me with that. So that's why I'm up at 3 a.m. when stuff's going on with US and Iran and we don't know what's going to be happening, because I'm so personal with everything I do. Like, it actually wears on me. That's the one thing that wears on me the most. And so, yeah, that aside, God, I don't even know how I was going to go on to
Yeah.
what we
We're talking about being selfish.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right. And so there is a point where people go, "Oh, you're a salesman." I'm like, "No, I'm selling myself to you, but I don't have to sell a product. I don't work for any of these guys. It's free whether you work with me, no matter who you go with. So we'll sort that side of it out of it." And the traditional salesman is not worried about how they can help somebody else. They're just focused on, I'm going to put them into this and it's going to give me the biggest commission. And I don't, that's why I think traditional salesmen have a bad rep, a car salesman, insurance salesman, whatever, because it's not always been aligned to what's best for the person. Whereas the reason I think I'll always be in love with the work I do is because the first thing that comes first is the client. And then when I help them out, wherever they go, man, that's a win for me and it's a win for them. Win-win, you know?
And I guess for people who don't understand the financial services industry, part of, I think, why there's been less people talking about KiwiSaver is because people would choose mortgages and insurance because the commissions are higher.
Way higher.
So, of course, they're going to focus on that because then they can make their life sustainable faster. If you to do something like what you've done and to stick to the path and not go, right, I might get into all these different avenues of financial products, you've got to really care about it and love what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. Like,
Because financially, it makes no sense to be in this vehicle when you could be
for the
in
same skill set, you can do the other things that pay you
You could be
so
doing
much more.
mortgages, insurance, or even real estate,
Yeah.
and be making an absolute boatload with the work ethic you have. But instead, you've chosen the hardest one that pays the least. And
But I like it.
Yeah.
But I would never do them because I don't care about them.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
it's like, and I get it all the time because with the industry I'm in, like those are all grouped together, right? So when we have industry events or something, there'll be your insurance, your mortgages, and then little old KiwiSaver boy. But when I walk into them, people are always like, you need to come and do mortgage insurance. And then when I tell them, or I meet somebody first time, like, hey, I'm John, I run a KiwiSaver business. Do you do something else? No, just KiwiSaver. And they all laugh at me. And they're like, what the hell, mate? Like, and the biggest thing that I've noticed that's a difference between me and a lot of them, and I'm not talking slight on anybody, but there are times I get really down with my industry. And this is one of them. I walk into a room and people tell me about how much money they earn.
Yeah.
I don't ever talk about how much money I earn. I talk about how many people I help. So our number we're talking about is 4,750. We're not talking about how much I earn. Fine with the salesman in my industry, it's about how much they earn. That's just not what I set my business up for, and it'll never be. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm stoked to earn good money out of what I do right now, but I genuinely tell people, like, if you want to dock up my hourly rate for the hours I work compared to what others work, like, I don't know if it's that much different. You know what I mean? Like, I still don't think it's better than what I was getting at Fonterra on the hourly rate. No way.
Yeah.
Because of the sacrifices that have come along the way, you know?
Speaking of sacrifices, any other sacrifices that come to mind? Obviously, a lot of leisure time.
Leisure time's the big one, right?
Yeah.
Like, my busiest hours are 3 o'clock through to like 9 o'clock at night, right? Because everyday hardworking Kiwis don't have the time to talk during the day often. So, you know, I can talk corporates during the day, and then I can talk with tradies or teachers or anything after work hours. So leisure time's been a really big one. And I'm getting better at it. It was probably just learning when to turn off business and switch back into John, the individual. So those sacrifices at the start, I think, were more just on me being so zoned in on trying to build Kauri Wealth and trying to help out everyone that in hindsight I go, man, I didn't have to sacrifice as much as I actually did. I just wasn't being smart about how I was running my business.
Yeah, gotcha. And your notebook, you still rocking the notebook?
Still rocking the notebook, mate. I'm old school. I'll never leave it. So.
Talk us through the notebook for those who haven't seen it.
Oh, God.
It runs your life, basically.
It does run my life. So it's just a notebook. It's about yay big, and it is just full. So every single person I meet with on the daily, their name and their basic stuff, so none of their private data, but their basic stuff is just written in this notebook. And so my whole life is in this notebook. I can talk. I keep them all in a safe, like a literal, I had a lock and safe. So every year finishes, bang, chuck it in and grab my new one out and go again. And I've actually now, because my business is getting so big, I've actually now only started doing 3-month ones. So
Okay.
I buy a whole one, but I'll just do 3 months, lock it away, grab another one, 3 month, lock it away.
And so you're writing down the people you're speaking to.
Speaking with, the
Yeah.
conversations I've had, the different things they might be interested in as well,
Yeah.
because I just have that book open with me. So when I'm doing my yearly check-in for Luke, it's been a year since I signed up with Luke. I've got that book out of the safe. So I know I'm going to be calling people a year ago, 2 years ago. I can just be flicking through that book there as well and be like, oh, mate, last time we talked, I came around to your place and you just, Miles was just born. How's
nice.
Miles going? Like I can have that personal side to my business. And I'm lucky I do have a really good brain where if I see Miles was born, I probably do remember being in that house and talking to Miles, or these clients I can hear their voice and I go, and I always think about, like, there's this client I got, Irish. When I talk to them, Rugby World Cup was just happening and the Irish were playing the Irish.
Yeah.
And I was like, so when I talk, I hear their voice when I do the yearly check-in. Sometimes I don't recognize the name because there might be, I might work with 30 Kates today,
Yeah.
But then I hear a voice and I'll be like, oh, last time we spoke, da-da-da-da-da-da. So that notebook just gives me everything I need to do. It controls my life in terms of it's a record of everything I've done, but it also gives me the personal side of what I do, because I'm not just writing work in it. I'm writing everything I'm noticing in the rooms and the environments I'm in as well, because I think sometimes we can get just purely focused on the business. But a lot of what I do is, if you're going to trust me for life, you need to know I care about you as a whole. Like, yeah, I care mainly about getting your KiwiSaver in the right position, but your KiwiSaver, I hope, is only going to be a small part of your asset class at one point. And so as we develop these conversations, I want to be able to put you in touch with the right people to do all the right things for you along the way. But I'd never know that if you don't have kids, if you don't, Yeah, it's life-changing.
You've turned it into a process, right? And it works for you and you've stuck to it.
And it wouldn't work for everybody.
No.
And I am very lucky. I am, my brain works in a mysterious way compared to others. Not always for good, but I'm not super good with names. Like I'm a big like, bro, how are you? Because I forget names.
Yeah.
But voices, I'm really good with voices.
Interesting.
Mm.
Business owners out there, what do you see that they're not thinking about when it comes to KiwiSaver? Because I know a lot of them don't contribute if they're not on a PAYE salary, for instance, and they're not getting their employer match. They might be a sole trader and there's no real incentive for them in their eyes to contribute. What do you typically see in that space or advise them about?
Cool. The cool news is it's slowly changing. Still nowhere near to the extent, but the amount of people in their 50s or 60s that come to me and they're like, oh, I've never had KiwiSaver because I've just done my own business the whole time. And they're like, I've just realized how stupid I was for doing that, but I was just solely focused on the business and putting every dollar into the business. I go, perfect. Like, I get that. But the way I explain it in two ways. One, I had a conversation today with a cricket player, high paid cricket player in New Zealand. And for people who don't understand this, but they are contractors in the way they work. So they don't get employer contributions. They're just like us, sole traders, right? And so this cricket player is earning really good money and they still took the time to catch up with me on KiwiSaver. Why? Because they want to be one of the best cricket players in New Zealand. They want to represent New Zealand, but that's just a small part of their life. They've also got KiwiSaver. They've also got other assets. They've all got life outside of cricket that they need to make sure if they want to be the best cricket player, they've got to be, like I talked about with me, I've got to be the best version of me everywhere. They've got to be the best version of themselves everywhere. So they're trying to get the nth degree, be in the top percentile for their KiwiSaver as well. And John, as a contracted player, how do I get the best out of it? What do I do? And I have those conversations with them. And I guess I bring that conversation to any business owner in New Zealand and say, it's the exact same. Your business should be your priority and you should be getting the absolute best out of that and you should be putting all your efforts into it. It only takes you 10 minutes to come and talk to me about your KiwiSaver and make sure you're getting the best out of it there as well. And I'm really upfront with it. I'm sole trader. Like when I'm speaking with a business owner, it's easy because that's me, right? Yeah. And so people go, John, how much do you put in your KiwiSaver? And I only put $30 in a week.
Yeah.
People go, what? I'm 29. Like, I'm not going to be able to touch my KiwiSaver for a massive period of time. So I just put pretty much just the minimum in every single week, getting the absolute maximum out of the government. I'm with the best KiwiSaver providers, getting the best compounding returns. Every now and again, I might chuck a little bit more in because I do want a really healthy KiwiSaver. But I'm doing investing outside of KiwiSaver with the extra money. I'd still do exactly like I would when I was working, 6% of my KiwiSaver. So
Of your income?
of
Yep.
my income, sorry. So I would go 6%, and I'll be putting that into other investments and things like that as well, alongside KiwiSaver. And so for self-employed people, you have to do, they go, oh, I'll do investments. If you put $1,042 into your KiwiSaver, the government's going to put $260 in straight away. 25% return on your money. If I told you as a business owner you could get a 25% guaranteed by doing this one thing, would you do it? 100%.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do it with your spare money then?
And do you then, with some of these people, help them get going with their investing outside of KiwiSaver? If they are, like, hey, I'm going to model what you're doing, 30 a week, etc., get the government contribution, and then, oh, okay, I didn't realise there's managed funds as well with my current KiwiSaver provider or the likes of Generate or whoever that they're using, that they can actually do it outside of the KiwiSaver framework?
My big thing has always been KiwiSaver because I can help out everybody, right? Managed funds and the investment space will be a space I do think I get into when I get to a point that, for me, working with 10,000 clients, if it's still just me, is going to be a shit ton of phone calls, right?
Yeah.
And so 10,000 is probably the number. It's a race to 10,000. If you get to be part of Kauri Wealth before you get to 10,000, that's probably where Kauri Wealth kind of caps out at. And then what I'll do is start going back and helping all of those clients with the investments and the managed funds and all that kind of stuff then, most likely. But right now, I just offload them to the smart people. Like you said, somebody with Generate, then they go, man, I really love how my KiwiSaver's going. Sweet. Give Generate a call, and here's a person. I can just refer them straight to a direct person at Generate. Boom, there. Or they want to go here, I can put them there, whatever. I'm just not having those hard out conversations with people right now, because the honest truth, again, it comes back to what we're talking about before for insurance, mortgages, and distractions. But also, I would earn more money in my industry if I put people if I go into investments rather than KiwiSaver.
Because the sums are bigger.
It's not even that. The percentages that I could earn are bigger.
Yeah.
And so the honest truth is, like I won't disclose names, but I've genuinely had an offer from somebody that is so stoked with what I've done with their KiwiSaver over 3.5 years. They're like, mate, I've got $10 million.
Yeah.
Will you invest it for me? I said, I'm not. And they're like, why not? I'm like, because I'll earn more money managing that than I would out helping 400 people in Kaitaia with KiwiSaver.
Yeah.
And if I start doing that and I do a good job for you, which I back myself to do, you're going to tell your friend and you're going to tell your other friend, because that's your group you hang out with. I'm going to lose the incentive to go and help 400 people there. So that's why I say it's kind of a race for the first 10,000 people to get to work with me, because I do think once I get there, I can't keep turning down business like that forever.
No.
But I am very passionate about why I started Kauri Wealth.
Yeah.
And I won't sell out until it gets to a point that I genuinely can't work with more people. So I'm just going to look after the people that I have as well as anybody will be looked after.
I'd imagine as well, though, that you're not going to need to call all of these people if you're legally allowed to not to. I mean, I have an insurance check-in. I'm like, I don't need that. You don't need to waste it with me. I'll see you next year. Check back in a year.
Yeah, and most people don't. To be fair, people just, I don't know.
I'm all good, mate. Yeah,
people love, hey, KiwiSaver's mint, John, how's things? And I'll just have a combo with them. Again, shorter these days. I used to talk to them forever. But you're right. You don't legally have to call all your KiwiSaver clients.
I see.
As far as I know, I'm the only person that is genuinely calling every single one of their KiwiSaver clients every single year.
Yeah.
People go, well, why do you do it? I go, oh, why not? Well, I bet you have time during your day where you're just sitting at your computer doing nothing. These are other advisors like me doing nothing. Why not spend that time connecting with somebody that is trusting you and continuing to trust you? You know? And so for me, it's just a way of, I'm not a dude that does well sitting at a desk doing nothing. So I'd rather make the time doing that. And I think it is, people trust me. I genuinely, like I said, I take the weight of people's trust. I take it very seriously, and I feel privileged that people trust me to look after their money, because they work bloody hard for it. Why should they trust this 29-year-old dude? You know? And so I repay that favor by being there.
And you go into organizations as well and different businesses and talk to their staff?
Yeah, it's my fun. Like, I love it. It's like my that's what I do this year. Like, my goal this year is just to get in every week, go to a new business. Like, I love it. So any business owners out there listening to this, honestly, get me in. Like, of course, for me, the cool part is you're not getting in somebody to sell anything, because I don't work for any of the KiwiSaver providers. So you're bringing me in to give a completely impartial view of KiwiSaver and helping out your staff. I walk into places, I've done a lot recently, but like the cool ones are the rubbish truck drivers. So 4 a.m. in the morning, genuinely, I turn up there, the last thing they want is this bloody dude turning up at 4 a.m. to talk about KiwiSaver before they just swipe in and jump in the truck and head off for the day. And their manager's always like, I don't know how much buy-in you'll get. Every single one of them always write their name down to have a catch up. Because I don't talk in there with a suit. I don't talk jargon. I just literally be like, hey guys, you have a KiwiSaver. This is how the average is doing. This is what a default fund's done compared to this over the different time frames, da-da-da-da. This is real stuff. I'm not going to bore you with all the with intricacies, da-da-da. If you want to have a proper catch-up, write your name and number down. I'll give you a call and we'll find a time to connect. They all chuck their name down. I work with 450 rubbish truck drivers in New Zealand now.
Yeah.
It's mint. or at
good.
depots. So either rubbish truck drivers or, on the recycling stations or anything like that. So, yeah, and sports teams, man, coolest one for me. I was with the Chiefs 2 weeks ago. Black Sticks women's team the other day, which is mint. I think it's awesome from those organizations. Those Black Sticks women's team they don't get funding in hockey is nowhere near up to par to where I think it should be in our country. Like, these women are absolutely insane athletes. They got a World Cup year this year, and like, I'm going to be there supporting them, watching. Like, I can't wait because I love sport, and they're taking the time out of the one break they do get together to listen to KiwiSaver. That's high performers being high performers, man. It's just like, I love it, and that's why I always say to business owners, they're like, wow, I don't know if I can afford 10 minutes of your, it's free for me to come. I'll never charge anybody anything. But they have to pay their staff for 10 minutes to listen to me.
True.
You know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
I don't know if I can afford that. I go, sweet as, but you're doing a great job of looking after your staff while they're at work. And you're also putting 3% minimum, it's about to be 4%, mate, into their KiwiSaver every time they get paid. Don't you want to make sure you get the most out of that 4% for them?
Yeah, nice.
Like, you're paying that. That's it, yeah. So, and then, yeah, and I always say, when I'm talking, I always be like, hey, you've got a great employer, because they are literally paying you to get some advice that's going to help you down the long run, whether it's buying a home or retirement. Not many employers are taking the time to do that. So, yeah, my commitment is, somebody reaches out to me and says, John, I'm in Timaru. I go to Timaru. Like, I love it. Like, it's cool. And it gives me an excuse to go down. I'm not going to do it for 2 people. I'll probably just say, like, hey, let's do it online, right? But usually 15 people or so. I always make the effort, and I'll just try and find another business in the area and cruise around. I love meeting people, shaking hands. It's the best part of my job.
You obviously do a lot of outreach, and you're comfortable with rejection. If people say no, tell you to get bent.
Crazy thing is, I'm not doing a lot of outreach.
Nice, it's all coming to you. Good man.
Yeah, it's like
Snowball is super rolling.
I don't know how I would feel if John walked in off the street and said, hey, this is what I do. I feel like salesy again.
So that example of Timaru, say someone asks you to come down, and you say, I'll find another business in the area. How do you find that business? How does that, like, if you've...
I'll go through my database.
Oh, nice.
And I'll be like, because I've got addresses, right?
Yeah.
I'll just search Timaru, or I'll search up postcode Timaru, or surrounding areas postcode. I'll have a look at my clients, and then I'll just do my yearly, I'll just do an early check-in and be like, hey, how's it going? By the way, I'm coming down. Does your business, are you happy with how it's going? They go, mate, it's awesome. If the team want to have a catch-up before work, or if you think anybody else at your work would be interested, I'm actually coming down in 4 weeks' time, and I'm happy to pop in at Smoko or something.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess that is outreach, I guess, a little bit, but it's not to a random...
it's not cold.
It's not cold.
Yeah.
And again, that one doesn't work too well, I'll be honest with you. Like, there might be a financial advisor listening to this going, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Doesn't work that well, because unless you're speaking with the owners,
decision making,
nothing actually happens. Everybody's like, mate, it'd be awesome. But then the owner goes,
Barry's
no.
like, I can't be bothered.
And Barry goes, I don't know that guy. I'm not paying for him.
What's he coming in here for?
Yeah, exactly. So that doesn't work. But again, I've just been lucky that, like, if, again, we've talked about it before, about being very selective with your time as the business gets bigger. If somebody says, John, I want to come down to Timaru, I won't just be like, I'll be there in 2 weeks. I'll be like, cool, perfect, really keen. And if it's something that's far away, I'll keep in the back burner. I'm such a big believer in life. Like, mate, you just keep working and shit works out for you. And it would be so weird the amount of times I'll be like, Ashburton, and then another person will ring me like a month later and be like, mate, if you're ever in Ashburton, let me know. I'll be like, bang, bang. And so I just have a list of business opportunities that I could go to. As soon as I get 2 or 3, tick them off and give them a call and make it happen.
Love it. Right, a few quick fire things to finish up. I'm going to take you through to the end of 2026, right? What will your business look like, and how much different is that to today, do you think?
Cool. Business will still be me in front of people. Ideally, I believe. If I do find the right people to come and work with me, I will. But people listening to me speak today know the values I run my business by, and somebody that works with me and is going to be client facing with me needs to have those same values. Need to be about people first, and you have to put those hard yards in early to make this a business and work. So, like, ideally, I'd love to have a few people that I got to work with, because it's a lonely bloody business. But if you were to say, what do I genuinely see in the next few years? I'd say it's still just going to be me client facing. It's going to be me making all the calls, but I will surround myself with the best admin team to just help make my life as easy as possible. And I want to get more brand awareness around Kauri Wealth at some point. It's something I've never done. And it's not something I actively have tried, because it's snowballed so much on itself. But I do want people to know. Right now, I might put somebody with, let's say, Generate for KiwiSaver. When they tell all their friends, they just go, oh, go to Generate. I want people to go, I'm with Kauri Wealth for my KiwiSaver. Talk to John, talk to Kauri Wealth.
They've had actual advice from you, and that's right for them to go to Generate, but maybe not for their friends.
Not for somebody else. And so I want people to know exactly, and people do, but I think when they're just talking KiwiSaver, they're like, who are you with? It's not. I want Kauri Wealth to be front of the name, and it's something I'm really conscious of how do I make myself, and that's why I'm doing all the personal stuff I'm doing, right? I want people to know who I am, and it's working, but I need to somehow get to that next level.
Mate, I think you keep going. If you get towards 10,000 people, like, that's a shit ton of people that have put their trust in you that become effective clients. Like, it's going to be a big snowball of awareness.
Oh, mate, 100%. I mean, 5,000.
Yes.
When I started this, 1,000 would have been crazy. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
And I didn't ask before, but very quickly, why do we need to be mindful of returns after fees? Because I know there's a lot of marketing out there these days of basically, oh, they've got high fees, or oh, those guys have got really low fees, use them. Why is fees just one component of KiwiSaver?
Because it's just one component of KiwiSaver is the answer.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, so the KiwiSaver is, for me, about consistency. Anybody can have a good year, anybody can have a bad year, right? If it was just going to be, John, put me with who's going to be the best KiwiSaver provider this year, I can't answer it for you, because I don't know who is that year going to be the best. Somebody could just have a flyer on a few random stocks and do a fantastic job, and then next year, because they're so actively trying to have flyers, they might have a terrible year the year after. And so the way I always like to look at KiwiSaver is consistency over time. So when you're looking at your 5-year and your 10-year data, when you've paid your fee, so after your fee, what is your actual return? Return after fee, and who's consistently done a fantastic job to earn you that money over a long period of time? So for me, KiwiSaver is built from top down. You earn a return, you take a fee off, you got a final number. What is that number, and how do you continue to do that? Returns after fees. It's a 2-part conversation, KiwiSaver.
So for those to understand, for those out there, you might have a lower fee, but your return may be lower. So you're still not really, yes, you're being charged less, but you're not actually where
better
you
off
could
at
be.
all. Yeah, and so, like, the best way to put it is, because some businesses don't just do KiwiSaver, right? So they might be making so much money elsewhere from other sides of their business, if you can infer what I'm talking about, that they can subsidize a lower KiwiSaver fee. It doesn't mean they're putting any extra efforts or anything into it. It's just they can subsidize it with other parts of their business to bring people into KiwiSaver, and then once they get them into KiwiSaver, sell them all the other products.
Gotcha.
So it can be like a loss leader sometimes as well, right? Whereas a really good KiwiSaver provider, all they might do is investments, and they're paying these teams to be up there when the market's open, when the market's shut, make decisions when the world's going on. They need to pay those people. How do they pay those people? We pay those people through our fees. But it's absolutely justified if those people are getting us the best returns. Like, I'll be upfront, I'm the biggest nerd around KiwiSaver. My KiwiSaver's not with the lowest fee person. Mine's with who I believe is going to get me the best returns after fees over a long period of time.
Nice. Okay, and back to the end of 2026, the Chiefs, how have they gone?
Chiefs, mate, I'm picking them I know the Crusaders did a bit of work to them the other day, but I am picking the Chiefs for the win this year.
They can do it.
Yeah, I genuinely, I'm fortunate enough to do KiwiSaver with the Chiefs, and so I was down there 2 weeks ago. I believe in culture first and foremost when it comes to anything, and that team's got a fantastic culture there. And I mean, look, Dave Rennie's got the All Blacks job now, and honestly, the legacy he built and the culture he built then, I still see so much of it coming through. And the people that talk about Rennie talk about what he did at the Chiefs. That culture's there, and their coaching staff now is phenomenal. They'll have a win. I've got some great mates in that team, so yeah, I'll never go past them.
And then the Warriors?
Mate, it's our year. We know that.
Yeah.
We know that.
But what do you reckon? You reckon they'll make the top 8 for sure?
Mate, this year,
Yeah.
for sure, mate. They're not going to let Barney down like that. And then the biggest thing next year is just going to be about how we fill that hole, because Barney's, mate, what a leader.
Massive.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, look, two sports nerds, we could sit here for too long. That you'll never
Yes.
finish the podcast if
Yeah.
we get on the Warriors.
Yeah. Well, good man, mate. It's always good to catch up with you, the level of energy. I think, what's really cool to see as well is that there's such a big focus on care, and then the money comes anyway, right? And I think so many people, when they're starting something, it's just about the money, and then, okay, now there's something else over there, and you've been tempted or had things put in front of you that easily could have tempted you to go down different paths, but you've just done the same thing, like year in, year out, kept the passion going, kept
Get
the hunger.
insanity, is it?
Well, it's working, mate. I think it's insanity when it's not working. But
Yeah.
you're going to go past 5,000 clients this year for sure. It's a pretty big milestone. I hope you take some time to reflect and to celebrate as you go, because I know you're a hungry lad and you'll just be on to turn the page, fresh page of the diary, go again. But I hope you do take some time to celebrate some of these wins, mate.
Oh, for sure. Like I get into that point now. Like the coolest part about when it gets to 5,000 or whether it's at 4,000, whatever, the coolest part is the amount of people I bump into on the street now that are a client
Yeah.
and they're happy, and it's like, mate, I'm like, that's why I set this up. Like, it's, mate, come here, give me a hug, and it's like, John, or come, mate, I'll get you a beer. And I'm like, I don't want a beer because that's 4,000 beers. I don't need that many beers.
Changing the wealth of Northland as well, mate. How good.
That is so good. It makes me really proud to go back home and I love it. Like, I had a text, I don't know, see if I can find it up quick soon enough, but like this, I got a text the other day, and I'm not expecting this text at all, right?
Yeah.
Sweet, here it is. So this is 26th of Feb, 3:17. Hi, John, I'm in the final stages of purchasing some land. Honestly, wouldn't have been possible without you. I'm so glad I changed my KiwiSaver provider. Without your advice, I wouldn't be in the position I am today. Thank you so much! Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation mark. And that is, like, you guys listening to this can be like, oh, that's so... Look how perfectly that's written. That is absolutely a sell. That's not a sell. That's a genuine message. And like for me, I replied, don't ever thank me. All the hard work is done by you. For me, I just can't believe people are so gracious for what I'm doing, because I just for me, it's obvious, like I'm not selling anything. I'm not pushing anything. I'm just being so true to myself and helping out people. And so when I get a message like that, I couldn't sleep that night. Like, I genuinely put my head on the pillow and I was just like, oh, like, because I do have days where I am down with my industry and the weight of responsibility, but a message like that'll keep me going for the next 3 months till I get the next one.
3 months. Man. Well, I'm sure there'll be more of those messages to come, mate, especially as that snowball rolls. But if people want to find you or need to get in touch, how do they do that?
Sweet. My business is Kauri Wealth, like the Cody tree. So Kauri Wealth. Jump online. You can go through there. Or john@kauriwealth.nz. Pretty simple.
Legend. Well, all the best for 2026, mate. And I'm sure that you'll blow past 5,000 and the 10,000 will be incoming.
There we are. And I'll see you at the grand final when the Warriors are there.
Bring it on.